It's easy to see how the right hand is placed here, but as we move further up the arm, more superiorly, what I want you to think of actually is somebody laying on their bed on their left side. So if they're laying on their left side, we have the right side that's facing up. Let me just identify a few bones first before we look at some of the muscles of the shoulder girdle. So this is clavicle. Your clavicle, as you'll remember, is your collarbone. And posterior, back here, this is going to be the scapula underneath here. So what do we have in terms of muscles in this region? Well, coming off the clavicle, this is our pectoralis major. Pectoralis major is the big muscle of your chest. You can tell it's been cut right here. As we move laterally, we have the deltoid. The deltoid is the big muscle of your shoulder. We call it deltoid because the Greek delta, which is a triangle or a triangular shape, that's the way that this muscle gets its name. We have anterior deltoid, middle deltoid, and then posterior deltoid. As we get further in the back, remember I said this is the scapula under here. If you'll recall, this is the spine of the scapula. So this is the spine of the scapula going all the way out to your shoulder laterally. If this is the spine of the scapula, then what you see up here, I say up here because this is superior, this is supraspinatus. Spine of the scapula, supraspinatus. You can see the trapezius cut around that. If this is supraspinatus, then that makes this infraspinatus. Infraspinatus. Inferior to that, we have teres minor. We have teres major. And now imagine this person laying on their back. Okay, you can see again their arm would be up or their palm would be up. If they're laying on their back, that makes this muscle right here subscapularis. Subscapularis because it's under the scapula. You can almost imagine the rib cage right along here. And then the last thing I want to point out here is this muscle that's been cut. You'll see the tendon of it. You'll see just a little bit of the muscle right here. This is latissimus dorsi. Latissimus dorsi is actually one of the big muscles of your back, but you can see it right up here in the shoulder region. So to orient yourself, I want you to look at the hand here. Imagine your right arm with your palm facing upward. Okay, so you're in what we call the supine position. I'm showing you this because as we get to this region, it's a little bit more difficult to visualize. This right here is the anterior muscle of your arm or your brachium. We call this the biceps brachii. When someone asks you to make a muscle or flex your muscles, people oftentimes put their arms up and bend their arms and show off their biceps brachii. That's what this is right here. We say biceps brachii because it has two heads, biceps, bi means two, and it's on the brachium. Your brachium is the region of your arm. So what we have here actually, and you can see where these heads go, we have the short head of the biceps brachii, and that one goes right up to this coracoid process. This is part of the scapula, the anterior side of the scapula. We also have the long head of the biceps brachii. The long head I want you to think of as laterally. This is your deltoid right here. So the long head is lateral. In fact, if I remove this portion of deltoid, you can actually see the tendon of biceps brachii, long head, going right through that intertubercular groove, and it's going to go up and grab the scapula posterior to this. So this is, again, short head of the biceps brachii, short head is medial, long head of the biceps brachii, long head is lateral. Put this guy back on, and we'll get to the next muscle here on the lateral side of the arm. This is brachialis, kind of an easy one to remember. Brachialis, it's on your brachium. And then we get to the posterior side. When we get to the posterior side of the arm, remember your biceps, 2 heads, is on the anterior. Your triceps, 3 heads, is on the posterior side. So what we have here is the lateral head of the triceps. We have the long head of the triceps brachii, and we have the medial head of the triceps brachii. So LLM, LLM, lateral, long, medial. I say medial because here we are on the inside of the arm, so to speak. Okay? 3 heads of the triceps brachii. Lateral, long, it is the long one, and medial. The last muscle I want to point out in this region is this one right here. We call this Coracobrachialis. Coracobrachialis. And again, this is an easy one. I know it's a long name, but an easy one if you think about what it means. This is your coracoid process of the scapula. Remember the short head of biceps brachii I was grabbing there? You'll see the same thing with coracobrachialis. It runs the length of your brachium. Coracobrachialis.